Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining Alibaba.com's Transformer Talk. I'm Erica Chan. I work at Alibaba.com, which is the global business-to-business e-commerce marketplace. And thank you for joining us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube. And if you're joining us from Tatiana James's YouTube channel, hello, welcome. And today we have a very special edition of Transformer Talks. Instead of having just one transformer talk about how they're transforming business and our society, today we have three esteemed guests, Tatiana, TJ, and Brittany, who are actually helping transform businesses on a day-to-day basis. And so welcome, Tatiana, TJ, and Brittany. They are three of our judges, actually, for our first ever Alibaba.com grants program. And we'll talk more about that later. But the grants program is really designed to support innovators and entrepreneurs and business owners in our new entrepreneur economy. And so with that, I'll let our judges and business transformers introduce themselves. Tatiana, maybe you can start, since you are an e-commerce guru, a small business owner yourself, but also an investor and a coach in the space. Tell us more about your journey, who you are, and
Thank you very much, Erica. My name is Tatiana James. I'm an entrepreneur, investor, YouTube content creator. And on my YouTube channel, I teach about starting and scaling e-commerce businesses, particularly on Amazon and Shopify. And I've sold multiple products online and built a brand to a 7-figure exit. And I'm one of many who represent the entrepreneur economy because as an entrepreneur, we all know that your businesses are only going to be a success when you add value to the marketplace. And so the entrepreneur doesn't survive unless they are providing a product or a service that meets the needs and the demands of the marketplace. So that's what I've been enjoying doing, is just learning about how I can add more value by creating products, finding problems and solving those problems. And I also enjoy creating content on my YouTube channel and just sharing some tips and strategies along the way.
That's awesome. TJ, you have a long history of working with entrepreneurs and retailers, supporting them. Tell us about your background, where you are now, and what have you learned from working with online sellers like Tatiana? Oh, you're on mute, TJ.
Sorry. Thank you for having me. So my story goes back about 7 or 8 years ago. I started working for a business at the time that supported entrepreneurs, and more specifically brands that sold on Amazon and online that were selling internationally. So I had worked with that company for a number of years, then moved to a different company called Payoneer, which helps a lot of entrepreneurs globally in terms of getting paid and making payments and stuff like that. And now, most recently, I'm at Elevate Brands. And what we do is we actually buy businesses that sell online and sell on Amazon or Shopify or whatever it may be, providing these entrepreneurs with an opportunity to capitalize on the hard work that they put in, right? So, if we think about the world of where we sit, it's referred to as aggregators. So a lot of businesses like what we do have raised a significant amount of capital to acquire these businesses and then continue to operate and grow them. The emergence of these companies really only came about in the last 2 or 3 years or so. And I think it's a really interesting time, and it's a really interesting opportunity for brands that, maybe you started selling in 2015, 16, before that even. The thought was you might have to run this business in perpetuity, right? You didn't always have a clear exit plan, didn't have a way to capitalize on what you've built, but now you do. And you have the opportunity to make life-changing money, and in many cases, generational money that can help, your family and your business and, live the life you'd want to live. And then I guess what I do here, I didn't even touch on that, but what I do here is I'm the director of partnerships. So, working with outward facing organizations and service providers and solutions and content creators to educate the market on sort of what we do, why we are different from, say, some of our competitors, but then also, driving business to find the businesses that are looking to sell, to make that sort of life-changing money.
Awesome. And then last but not least, Brittany from Hello Alice. Brittany, we're super excited to be partnering with Hello Alice to launch and operate this grants program. Could you please tell us a little bit more about sort of what drives you and to talk about all the work that you're doing to help small businesses in the US grow and succeed?
And Tatiana and TJ, really looking forward to our conversation. What fuels my passion? Well, both personally and professionally, I've always been committed to social good. So it's an absolute pleasure to serve as Hello Alice's Senior Director of Impact, where I'm able to study the incredible economic benefits that small businesses provide to their communities, and then understand the specific needs within that hugely diverse group of entrepreneurs, and then strategize how to best support them at scale. So as you know, Hello Alice is a free platform that small businesses launch and grow. So I'm really excited that that's something that I get to work on every single day. Of course, as a consumer, I know firsthand the many benefits that come from supporting small business. So ranging from like my relationships with direct service providers in the community to just the incredible quality that you get when you buy direct from someone who's created a product and kind of everything in between. So I feel very fortunate to be in this space.
Thank you for joining us. So let's talk about the entrepreneur economy, a word that we've been sort of talking about, right? So according to US government statistics, in the year 2020, I can't believe we're nearing the end of 2021, but in 2020, 600,000 new businesses were established, 600,000 more new businesses were established in 2020 compared to 2019. So a lot more new businesses came about, and a third of those 600,000 small businesses were actually retailers that are not tied to a physical store. And so we're calling these sort of online sellers and digital entrepreneurs. And this is really the surge in entrepreneurship. It's a reversal in trend in the years prior to 2019. And so if the Great Recession sort of gave way to the gig economy sort of a decade ago, it seems like the disruptions brought on by the pandemic in the past year or two has actually given rise to a new type of economy, one that we're calling the entrepreneur economy, right? Where small digital first businesses are being formed. So Tatiana, you've actually been a very successful digital entrepreneur, online seller. What do you think is really driving this big surge and this big change in 2020? And what led so many people to sort of embark on this journey to start their own businesses?
Thank you, Erica. Well, I think what we've witnessed is a result of people who were once comfortable at their jobs and then now being, furloughed and laid off, and now being forced into this zone of uncertainty. And this is the place where you've got your back up against the wall and there's a high level of uncertainty, and that can either take you out or it can ignite a fire under you and really spark your creativity. And so I think that these 600,000 entrepreneurs, we saw them get creative and resourceful by starting their own businesses for the first time. And I've witnessed it personally on my YouTube channel. Like the sheer volume of interest in building an online business has exploded, especially at the beginning of the pandemic, but not just out of necessity, but out of opportunity. People see the opportunity that this Black Swan event has brought with a huge shift online. The pandemic has accelerated the process of digital transformation across almost all sectors, and e-commerce is, of course, no exception. So, I mean, if you look back at some examples in history, we look at Airbnb and these rideshare apps. These services grew tremendously during the 2008 financial crisis. And that's because, there was a new demand, right? People had to start economizing. And so they started to share rides and share homes. And so that brought about it accelerated the growth of the existing businesses. And I actually think that Alibaba is no exception. They're a prime example of this because when I was researching, I saw how during the SARS pandemic in 2002 and 2004, Alibaba was a new company at that time. And it's amazing how they were able to get resourceful and pivot and really catalyzed the growth of Alibaba and put it at the forefront of retail in Asia. So they really proved that in times of crisis, challenges can be turned into opportunities as long as you're willing to be resourceful, and if you have enough determination.
Yeah, and I think thank you for that, Tatiana. And I think it's so true of so many of our customers who are entrepreneur, right? If there's anything, it's that grit, that resilience and determination that really set entrepreneurs apart. So TJ, in your work, right, working with so many entrepreneurs and especially online sellers in your career, what do you think sort of are the biggest changes or things that you have observed in the market that's different maybe in the past year and a half compared to before?
Yeah, I think we saw a big shift probably in like 2018 or 19, whereas online selling was a side business or a hobby, really got pushed forward to becoming people's main job and main source of income. And I think, during the pandemic, that was even amplified even more. Unfortunately, I think people were, laid off from their jobs, or perhaps sitting at home and, with more free time because they're not commuting as much. So they could focus on that more, and then realize I actually enjoy working for myself, being creative, driving this business and not working for someone else. So I think that really amplified and pushed forth, what you were calling the entrepreneur economy. We see the businesses and the sheer volume of the growth that these businesses had in 2020 carry over into 2021, right? We saw a real hockey stick kind of chart in terms of the size of the businesses in sort of sales transactions that they were doing in 2020 really amplified compared to 2019. And to be honest with you, we expected it to fall off a bit in 2021, and it's either plateaued or continuing to go up. So, I think for better or worse, the pandemic absolutely changed buyer habits. And we as business people or online sellers benefited from that. I don't know the last time I went into a physical store because I can click on my phone and two buttons and get something delivered tomorrow, right? And if it can't come tomorrow, I'm annoyed, right? So, the buyer habits have completely changed to the benefit of these entrepreneurs and online sellers, and really boosted this entrepreneur economy.
Yeah, I think if anything, right, the disruptions in the past year to two have really accelerated digital adoption and digitization. We see it in the B2C retail space, and we also at Alibaba.com, we're a business-to-business platform, but we're definitely seeing that businesses are also adopting these tools and technologies at a much faster pace. Mm-hmm. Brittany, can you tell us a bit more about Hello Alice and what kinds of support and also resources are you offering to help our new digital entrepreneurs succeed?
Sure. So at Hello Alice, we provide an exhaustive suite of entirely free resources to entrepreneurs that help them across an entire life cycle of their business. So when you're just starting out and you're in launch phase, you might not even know what you don't know. And so we've got a new milestone feature, which is like self-guided learning modules that help fledgling businesses navigate all those critical decisions that help get their business up and running. And then, of course, the perennial thing that we hear from all small businesses is we need funding. And so we've got a funding center. It's it's funding.helloalice.com is the URL. And there we open doors to new sources of funding, whether that's equitable small business loans, lines of credits, all the way through to fantastic grant offerings like the one that we've just finished with Alibaba.com. And then once you've got your business plan and you've got your funding in place, then attention naturally turns to growing the business. So we've got tons of resources that are about building audiences, gaining new customers, subscribers, and building partnerships that help people step by step to how they can master marketing, advertising, and all of those things that are critical to growing your business. And then finally, we provide ongoing support to help entrepreneurs optimize and manage their business. So setting strategic plans, budgeting, implementing proven designs and systems that we can learn from each other's success in order to help build up those that are coming down the line after us. So yeah, we like to think that we support people through across the entire life cycle, no matter where they are in the development of their small business, because every small business, or excuse me, every business starts small.
That's great. Thank you for that. Yeah, I think that the resources that you guys offer are tremendous. And I think what is also super valuable is actually the community that you're building, right? Because as entrepreneurs and small business or business owners know, it can be a challenging and also somewhat lonely journey. And so the community that Tatiana's building, that you're building, that TJ's building, I think that has been very helpful. So speaking of the grants program, we Alibaba.com, in collaboration and partnership with Hello Alice, actually launched a grants program back in September of 2021. And the idea is we committed $500,000 to provide 50 $10,000 cash grants to entrepreneurs and business owners who would demonstrate sort of an innovative product idea or go-to-market strategy. And so it was met with tremendous enthusiasm and response in the market. We received over 12,000 applications during the sort of month and a half application window. And then amongst our applicants, right, we saw that about 70% identify as Black entrepreneurs, 70% were female entrepreneurs, and then about 2/3 are actually folks under the age of 40. So it's like a new generation of business owners and operators. And so just a quick preview of sort of our applicants, right, reflect that sort of this new entrepreneur economy is actually one that's very diverse. The participants come from very diverse backgrounds, and they come from all walks of life, and they cover sort of a large span of industries, of products, of technologies. And what's fascinating, right, is to review these applications and see how all of these entrepreneurs have very sort of clear visions of the mark they want to leave in the world, right? Some are building a more equitable world through the products and services they offer. Some are building a more sustainable world. Some are building a more beautiful world. And so it has been, at least to us here at Alibaba.com, humbling to see so much creativity and dedication. And so, Tatiana, maybe you can start, right? Can you maybe share your thoughts and your experience reading these applications and sort of what stood out to you?
Yeah, it was really an honor and a pleasure to read through all of the applications and review the businesses. What stood out to me was how many of those applicants were female. And so that was very impressive to hear their stories and see how they found problems that matter to them and mattered to their society and created products and services to solve them, because that's the definition of an entrepreneur, essentially. And I also developed a sincere respect for those who didn't let any limitations get in the way of acting on their ideas and starting their businesses with however much or however little resources they had. Because that means that they took a chance on themselves. And so that makes me more confident to take a chance on them. So, I always think that success is rewarded to those who take action. And so I definitely saw a lot of applicants who figured out a way to, turn those ideas into a reality and just get started.
Thank you. Thank you for that. What about you, TJ?
Yeah, the thing that stood out right away and that I still think about is you could really understand and feel and see the passion that these people had. And a lot of the times it was a side job that turned into their main job, and now they're pushing forward with this. And, as Tatiana mentioned, a lot of the times, they gave their background and kind of why they created this business. And a lot of the times it was out of necessity, or they saw something that they needed or that they would use and realized maybe this is something that the greater good can use. And, whether they wanted to be a business or just to serve their communities. A lot of the times I keep saying that, sorry, but a lot of the times there was stories about, doing this for their community or doing this to, better the greater good. And I think what also stood out to me was how detailed some of the people were about how they would spend every single dollar of the $10,000. It wasn't like, I'm going to take this $10,000 and grow my business. I remember one example. One person was like, $2,500 for this, $1,300 for that, $6,000 for this. And I'm like, they know exactly what they need to do. They just don't have the capital to get there. So, reviewing these applications and obviously with Alibaba and Hello Alice's help, like, you're really going to make a difference in this person's, not only their business, but their life. And, maybe this is just the spark that they need to get over that first hump.
And that's how transformations happen. Sometimes you just need that spark to get over the hump. And so with that, I wanted to ask each one of you sort of what are you most excited about with regards to the entrepreneur economy in the year 2022, now that 2021 is sort of coming to an end. Brittany, let's start with you.
Oh man, I am so palpably excited about 2022. I think it's going to be the year of small business. I will put my flag in the ground. 2022 is going to be the year of small business. We talked about some of the numbers earlier around, there's over 31 million small businesses in America. They employ something like 47% of the private workforce and represent nearly half of our GDP. And I want to just continue to see those grow. And so across 2022, some of the things that I'm going to be tracking along with Hello Alice is equitable access to capital. So we need to ensure that grants, responsible lending, lines of credits, and an entire continuum of capital works for small business owners, and they're able to access that no matter where they've come from. Because like TJ said, you don't have to have it all, on day one, but we need to figure out how we can help support those that have the dream and the drive to get to where they're going. I'm also going to be closely tracking revenue growth. So we need to improve supplier diversity, build small business brand awareness, get a consumer campaign going where people understand the importance of shopping small. Because if we don't start with consumers, then unfortunately, the trend will go towards large business and away from small business. So hopefully that will be something that we all can continue to keep after this pandemic passes, that we can remain that shop small ethos. And then finally, job growth. Like, we need to empower these small businesses who do all of the work and are the backbone of our economy to create the jobs that offer really livable wages, which I think is another key element of small business job growth. And so together, I think these three things, job growth, revenue growth, and access to equitable capital, are really going to be the key components that will make 2022 this year of small business.
Great. Let's keep working together on that. Tatiana, what about you? What are you most excited about for 2022?
Oh boy, yeah. I mean, I have to echo everything that Brittany said, but I'm just really excited. I've always been very passionate about entrepreneurship and just the doors that it opens. And really, that's why I started my YouTube channel, because starting my own business changed my life for the better. And I couldn't imagine it any other way. And so I think that with this huge, with this increase of technology and new technologies, I think it's going to bring about new opportunities. So there's an abundance of opportunity when it comes to entrepreneurship, that's for sure. But I think we're going to start to see a lot of new stuff, whether it has to do with blockchain technologies or 5G or robotics and drones, like all of these things. There's some industries that are, that will probably suffer because of the technology, but there are other new industries that will emerge from this. And so I think that for those entrepreneurs, well, especially those who form online businesses, I think there is massive opportunity there and will be for the future. And not just for B2C, but for B2B too. I think that the B2B businesses that are going to be incorporating these technologies the quickest, I think that's how they're going to remain competitive. So I'm just excited for whatever is to come. And it's really, you really got to be able to adapt because things are changing quickly. And so if you don't adapt, you're going to get left behind. And so I'm always looking for what's the next thing around the horizon.
That's great. And TJ, what are you most excited about?
I mean, Tatiana and Brittany have said a ton of great points that I wasn't thinking of, some of them, and I'm like now even more excited because it is really exciting just in general. there's me that sits at Elevate, and then there's also me who has worked personally with a ton of businesses over the years. And then just, I'm most excited for the continued growth. And I think it kind of goes back to the two things, really. It's the continued change in buyer habits, which is really fueling whether it's shop small or whether it's buying online, which somewhat go hand in hand. The opportunity that a large marketplace plays in this world on the B2C side has provided tons of small businesses the opportunity to make life-changing money, right? And I think we will continue to see that. We'll continue to see businesses expand, right? It's just as easy to sell internationally now it is in the US. You do not have to be just a national brand. You can easily be a global brand with global notoriety, selling in 190 something plus countries or whatever it is, right? So that's what I'm most excited for continued growth. I want, part of me, when Elevate's buying businesses, we don't want them to be too big because then you have to pay a lot of money for them. But like, I want these businesses to be worth hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Because it's just going to continue to fuel growth down the food chain, right? Because when they get to a certain size, they need to hire more employees. And who are they going to hire? People from their communities. And what is that going to do? Maybe that person was previously in a different job that they really hated, but now they're really passionate. Now they love this. Or maybe that sparks in them the entrepreneurial thing. And now they were working for this person. Now they want to go create their own business, right? So it's just like never ending cycle. And I think it's just speeding up faster and faster. And 2022, if you asked us in 2019 what was going to happen in 2020, we'd have obviously no idea what that would come from. So I think we're all saying really good things, but no one really knows. And that's the exciting part as well.
The one thing we do know, though, is when small businesses succeed, communities thrive. And then
Absolutely.
As communities thrive, we all do better. So just thank you so much for your time. Just one parting thought from each one of you. Just one piece of quick advice to the entrepreneurs out there watching either via our YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook channels or Tatiana's channel. One piece of advice for entrepreneurs in this entrepreneur economy. We'll go TJ, Brittany, and we'll close with Tatiana.
Yeah, the last piece of advice for entrepreneurs is keep pushing. You may think your back's up against the wall. You may think I don't have any more options, but there's always something you can do to reinvigorate your business. Go watch a new YouTube channel, find Tatiana and see what she has to say. There's a ton of free content on the internet. Maybe this little lever that you pull here or push there can really make a change in your business. So, if you think your back's against the wall, dive deeper, continue to push through, continue to keep learning. And I think hopefully you'll come out better on the other side.
Thank you. Brittany.
Yeah. TJ, I echo exactly what you said. And Erica, I think you hit it on the head earlier when you said that entrepreneurship can kind of be lonely and you can feel like you're figuring things out yourself, even though someone must have tackled that same exact issue before you. And so I guess my final piece of advice is to please, take advantage of the resources and community that are available to you, whether that's on Hello Alice or the great digitization sprint for entrepreneurs that Alibaba.com is putting on right now, or Tatiana's YouTube channel. Build a community of those, and we will uplift each other together.
Better together. And last but not least, Tatiana.
So I would say, just get started, because you can ruminate on ideas and dream about it for years, maybe the rest of your life. And you just got to get started and take that first step. So whatever your idea is, create a plan, but don't think that you need to know all of the steps in the plan, because you won't. And even if you did, that might even be a little bit too overwhelming. You might not start. So just, whatever it is that you want to do, if it's starting an e-commerce business, okay, what's step number one? And just do step number one, and then step number two will reveal itself. It always does. So get started. And as everyone else here mentioned, just get as many resources as you can. I mean, we're so blessed to live in this day and age where with the click of a button, we have access to any information from all over the world, and we can communicate like this, and we can work with mentors and just collaborate with people. Just the abundance of information. I mean, there's just we don't necessarily need more information. We have a lot of it. So it's really just comes down to gathering all of that and setting up an action plan for yourself, and then taking that first step and just going for it, and don't look back, because entrepreneurship is a very, very exciting journey, and new doors will open for you that you were not able to forecast or predict. I think that it's only going to become more relevant in 2022, 2023.
Thank you so much. And thank you all, judges and guests. I hope you have a good rest of the year. And I am now even more excited than I was about 2022. So with that, thank you all for joining us from around the world. Stay safe, and we'll see you at our next Transforma Talk.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Bye.
Erica.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.